Welcome to your weekly astrological weather. This is your place to get practical guidance for not only surviving, but thriving with the cosmic tides. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to your weekly astrological weather. This is your weather for July 11th to the 17th. I am so thrilled to be here with astrologer and very popular YouTuber, Dr. Stormie Grace. And Stormie is going to be one of 9 astrologers who will be joining us this week for our free birthday party panel event. That's right. Astrology Hub is turning 7 years old on Thursday, July 14th. And to celebrate and really to give thanks to the astrologers who have helped us become who we are today, to the community who's helped us become who we are today, we're throwing a birthday party. You're all invited. And we're going to have a panel event on Thursday featuring the 9 astrologers who have regularly contributed to the Astrology Hub podcast. So that is going to include Anne Orderly, Rick Levine, Christopher Renstrom, Gemini Brett, Donna Woodwell, Frank Clifford, Anna Zaharia, Jamie McGee, and of course, Stormie Grace. So we would love for you all to join us for that. When you sign up, you actually also will receive 7 days of gifts. We are, for the 7 days leading up to the panel, you'll receive a different gift from us in your email. If you miss some days already, that's okay. The email that you'll get tomorrow will have a summary of all the previous gifts. So we're just showering everybody with all of our gratitude because we're so grateful to be here today, 7 years later. This is a complete dream come true. It was just like this idea, this thought, and now here we are today. So it's astrologers like Stormie that we get to thank for that. And it's people like you who tune into the podcast, who listen every week, who share the show and share about Astrology Hub with your friends. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If you want to sign up for that, you go to astrologyhub.com/birthday party. Again, that's astrologyhub.com/birthday party. And Stormie and I were talking before we went live about the dynamics of that particular panel and how funny it's going to be, really.
Yeah, everybody is quite expressive. And I think too, because we're all really comfortable with each other and with Astrology Hub, you know, that's when the shoulders drop down a little bit and you still remain professional, but there is like a comfort and I think an insight into your practitioners. And so it becomes a different dynamic.
I told Stormie, I'm like, I feel like it's a wild card. You know, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, and I have no idea what that is. And yeah, we want it to be intimate. We want it to be casual and intimate. I'm going to be asking kind of intimate questions to all of you, and you audience members will have an opportunity to ask them questions as well. I'm going to actually give Inner Circle members an opportunity to send questions in early. And then we're also going to talk about Saturn Square. Like, what is a Saturn Square? Because it's our Saturn Square, right? Our 7th birthday. So what is it? What is a Saturn Square? And then how do we navigate the Saturn Squares in our lives in general? Yeah. Okay. So Stormie, let's go to the weather for the week. Do you want to start with the theme? What would you say is the overarching theme?
The biggest theme that I think that we've got on our table this week really does ring from this full moon for me, where we're really looking at power and responsibility. So I think that this is a great thing to be thinking of, you know, even before we get to this full moon and for the 2 weeks leading after it, where we've got this potent amount of energy. And there's lots going on in the world. There's lots in the energetic body right now, but still it's coming down to power and responsibility and how we are using those things. So I think that that is the big theme I'd like to continue to focus us into as we're looking at the transits for the week.
Okay. And then how about the biggest transits? What are the ones that we really need to keep our eye on?
Yes, so definitely the full moon happening at 21 degrees of Capricorn. This is going to be huge, not only because it's a full moon, right? But because it's a full moon that is also conjunct Pluto. Its ruling planet of Saturn is also retrograde. So we've got a pretty big signature that we want to be paying attention to there. And then even as we're coming into the week, I know it's a smaller aspect, but we're going to see Mercury have a little bit of a dance with Chiron. And so I really want to dig into that because it's quiet and it seems subtle, but it's not. It's really something important for us to be talking through these new identities that we have and identities that we're sharing as well, because it does help lead us to the conversations of responsibility and power. So we're going to have that dynamic on the table as soon as we come into the week. So these are my two big ones. It doesn't mean there's not bigger transits we're going to talk about, but these ones are the ones that really have my attention for us to work with.
And what about the United States Pluto return today?
I know. I don't know if you can do anything, Amanda, honestly, all of us, but take a very deep breath to the impact that that is having and will have, and that we're going to have to see come to pass again as we get to February. But the one thing I will say about it is big, it is important, and we have to wait. I think we have to wait and we have to watch what's going on. Pluto is in retrograde. The United States is under enormous review at this particular moment in time. And we've got structures that are dying off here for sure, but we also have to watch and see what the movement of our governmental bodies and even our smaller communities are to see how we can really adapt to this return. So, I mean, that's a whole like event. That's like a whole webinar.
Yeah. Well, and actually we did do that webinar. We did the webinar last year. It was all about the United States Pluto return because it is huge. And there's 3 hits of the Pluto return. We had the first one in February. This is the second one here in June and then, or July, I'm sorry. And then we'll have the third one in November.
No, we'll actually get another bigger hit of it in February again of 2023. So we're not through this dance and dynamic yet, which is why I say whenever there's a repeating pattern of things like this, I really start to pay attention in the middle to where we have to pause and breathe and wait and look around at what has been. Because when we get some culmination, I think we really do see what we're going to do next by the time we arrive to March of 2023.
And when you say wait and watch, are you just saying don't do anything super reactive right now? Like just like continue to watch it play out is essentially what you're saying.
Watch it play out. And, you know, every time I come, I feel like I'm telling everybody, yes, these things are happening in the world, but come back home, right? Because this is where you're going to be able to see the Pluto retrograde in general. The strongest is going to be in your personal space. Where are these power dynamics dying off in your life? They've been destroyed. They don't work anymore. And then where does that release you to make decisions into the world that is forming out there, right? Because if you're not practicing some kind of principle or some kind of practice of a responsibility in your own house, who cares what you're doing in the community? Because it's probably sideways anyways, right? Like if you can't do your home, how do we have a conversation about running a country? Those are big accountability questions. I have been very Saturnian this year, it turns out. So I would just like to put that out there in advance.
So you're saying take care of what you can within your sphere. And from there, you could start to have those bigger conversations. But if you're not accountable, I like what you're saying. If you're not accountable for your own life, how can you be accountable for the country and for the community that you're in and all those different more external expressions?
Absolutely. And it is a time, especially in the United States, where we're really having to look at the balance between what's happening with the decisions that government is making and how we respond to that in our personal homes, and the decisions we've made in our personal homes that make what the government is doing so contrary to the lives that we're living. So you see, this is why I feel like this week, this theme of power and responsibility lies really within first, and then we can take it out and see what the world is doing.
Okay, Stormie, let's unpack that a little bit more. So you said that there's a conjunction between Mercury and Chiron. Is that correct? Or what'd you say?
It's
A square. A square. And then you said that that's kind of setting up the power and responsibility dynamic that we're going to be working with the full moon in Capricorn.
Absolutely.
What do you mean by that? And how, first of all, when is the Mercury Chiron square? And then how do we work with that energy to help us with the full moon itself?
Awesome. So we're actually going to see that on Tuesday. Now, let me just back up for 1 second and unpack Monday for a second, and I'll roll us in there. Because on Monday, when we're coming in, you get up and you peep your eyes open. We're actually coming in with the moon in the energy of Sagittarius, which I love. And I think that we need this. I think we need this vibration coming into the week. Because, Sagittarius is a fire energy, and fire energy is about not just having some life and enthusiasm, but fire energy is that heck yeah energy. And especially with Sag, it's like, heck yeah. And is it fun? So there is a sense of breathe this week, come into the week with some enjoyment, some enthusiasm of where your fires are burning, especially emotionally. What are you passionate about that is getting you out of bed in the morning? So I love that we have the opportunity to come in this week under that vibration. Now, we're also going to see that the moon does sit in opposition to Venus. So Monday, as we're coming in with this energy, we have an opportunity to practice this joy and this openness and a little bit of responsibility, because opposing Venus, we can kind of go, well, I want more affection. I want more attention. I need it. And then it becomes, instead of a request for engagement, right? Instead of the integration of an opposition, it becomes a demand where we could actually be pushing people, places, and things further away from us. Right? It's conversation that is demanding instead of requesting. So something to think about in that, especially if you're coming into the week and you're living your best life in the morning, but by mid-afternoon, you feel like your emotional needs are not being met. What's on your side that we're looking at? And other things to think of are, what is somebody else requesting from you? Have you been very Saturnian in your space or distracted in some way? People are like, I want to have fun with you. I want to talk to you. You know what I mean? I think that those are good things for us to be thinking about as we roll into that Monday energy. But then we're going to roll. We're going to roll into Tuesday, and we see later in the day, first of all, we'll see the moon leave that Sagittarian energy. It does move into Capricorn as we prepare for the full moon. So we are emotionally going to get a little bit more serious, maybe a little bit more reserved, but a little bit more emotionally focused, which I do want to say, when that moon transition happens before we welcome any full moon, new moon for the month, right? Something that happens is, I think we get prepared. So by Tuesday, you're like, yeah, all right, I'm prepared to mature, come to the next level, be responsible. Then we see this Mercury Chiron square, and we're going to see this arrangement again in December. So please take note of that. What's happening for you as we're here, and then what's happening again in December. Because first of all, one of the things it does is it's relax. We do have some things to do here. We are achieving some things, but maybe be a little bit easier on yourself, right? Take a deep breath. You're advancing in a brand new identity, Chiron in Aries. You got to walk this new identity. You got to walk this new perception of yourself out here. Some of our belief systems about ourselves are healing. They got really very broken over this last couple of years, and they are still convalescing. And we're doing that in public, right? Healing in public and needing to still take action. So I think that this is important. It is subtle, but I think it's important when we're talking about responsibility and power, because it can't just be the grind all of the time. Does that make sense?
Oh, completely. Yeah. So a little more softness with yourself. When Anne was doing the weather, we talked a lot about getting our training wheels, or maybe if you think of the butterfly analogy, we have our new wings. And so there is so much to learn in this time where we are transforming deeply, changing deeply, and to be easy on ourselves through that process. Like, don't expect yourself to be somewhere where you're not yet, and be soft with yourself about where you are and how far you've come, because we've all come really far in the last few years. So just that compassion for self, I think, is what you're talking about here.
Absolutely. And from that, when we think about power, responsibility, when I can have compassion for myself, the tolerance I am available to extend to my fellow man is available. And when I cannot give tolerance to my fellow man or situation, it's about me, not them. Right? That's me, not them. And so you see, you see the dynamic and how this gets really subtle, but important, I think, as we're moving through the week. And again, you'll get to practice it December 15th. So
this is an early echo of something that's going to be happening later. Take note of that. I love when you astrologers do that for us, because then we can start to make the threads, between all the different things that are happening. It's not just like a week, it's a week within a month, within a year, within all the different transits that are happening.
Yes, absolutely. So other themes that we've got going as we're blending the energies between Tuesday and Wednesday and kind of getting in there, we're going to see Venus that is about pleasure, right? We've got pleasure, we've got attraction. Venus is an attracting energy. So if you're still out there hammering Venus and trying to make it do something, I would ask you to take the chokehold off of Venus and remember that it is a luxurious, attracting in kind of energy. And as Venus comes in and sits in this lovely trine to Saturn that we get to work with, this is nice because, again, with this Capricornian energy that is guiding the week, commitments, keeping our word, signing the contract, doing the heavy lifting doesn't feel so awful. And I think that is really great, right? And it's Cancer season. It's like, I feel safe. I feel secure in making these commitments. Maybe in my relationships, I'm making decisions that are more committed, create more safety and things like that. So when you have this aspect on the table, you're a lot more level-headed when it comes to the decisions that you're making, because it's not Venus with the rose-colored glasses. So you're using your power and your responsibility in ways that are more level, which I think is really important at this particular time.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I love what you reminded us about Venus. And you said, if you have a chokehold on Venus, what do you mean by that? Like, what does that mean for an individual to have a chokehold on Venus in themselves?
Yes, absolutely. It literally means you're trying to make Venus do something. So I'll give you guys a prime example. I have Venus in Aries, okay, which, just pray for me. But what it has looked like before I realized that Venus was used to attract is I would go get the thing, the person, place, or thing. I would go get it and drag it back to my love layer and wonder why it didn't want to stay. Right? Whatever it is, the money, the guy, the food, the couch, I would get these things and they would want to escape the love layer. And, that's a lot. So that is,
love that. Yes.
It was actually Spencer Michaud, who's another astrologer, who was talking to me, and he is like, oh, Venus is an attracting energy. Just say, this is what I would like, and let Venus magnetize to you what wants to be there also. And that became a game changer. For me, I stopped working so hard for money, right? I started to attract in relationships that can handle the intensity of who and what I am, right? In my relationships, I didn't, whether they were romantic or not, I didn't look like a bossy Venus in Aries in the particular position that it's in. Instead, I became a person who, if we're having a conflict or a challenge, I know Stormie's going to share very honestly and directly with me what the perception of what's going on is. So it became a completely different experience for me and of me in the world. So if you're out there making that Venus in Cancer help everybody, leave them alone. Let Venus attract you the people that want your help. Does that make sense?
Oh, completely. It really does. It reminds me of the difference between the word alluring, like to be alluring versus seducing. Like those, and I don't mean necessarily romantically, but you can be alluring in your work. You can be alluring in the way that you create whatever, or you can be seductive, which is way more like go out and get. Like there's like, there's like a strategy behind it. It has an agenda and a goal. And so I think of those two words when you're describing the difference. It's like that alluring, you are you and your beautiful sparkliness, and you are confident that what it is that you're wanting to attract is going to find you and meet you there. And then the things that come in are of a matching vibration. It's a matching frequency. So have you noticed, Stormie, that the things stay more when you do that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But it comes back to concepts that I like of accountability, where I realized, like with my particular placement of Venus in Aries, and it is in the 8th house at the Aries point. So I became responsible for putting out a vibration to interact with people, places, and things that could do depth and intensity. Because I'm going to tell you, I probably owe an amends to some people, because I was like, come into the love lair, and they're like, listen, this place is scary. I got to get out.
Oh, wow. Yes.
I'm not staying here. You're intense.
Yes. The 8th house kind of scorpionic-ish type of energy. Yeah. Right. We're going to go deep. We're going to go in there. Yeah.
And you got to have the right, so just let your Venus bring you what is ready to work there.
And so in particular this week, it's let your Venus show you or reveal where you're ready to make more commitments and where you're ready to actually maybe up level certain contracts with people, or whatever it is. And you don't need to be pressing or pushing at all. It'll be obvious is kind of what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it will. And I think, the other piece of it is that it'll feel like, this is something that's got some long-term, some depth and some weight to it, which is beautiful.
It's so good. Okay. Thank you for all that sharing. That just really brought it to life. I can, when you said don't chokehold the Venus, I'm like, what do you mean chokehold the Venus? What does that mean? So thank you for using your own life as a personal example. It's super helpful. Okay. So that was Wednesday, right? So anything else on Wednesday? Or are we going to Thursday?
We were bridging between Tuesday and Wednesday. So now we want to move into this full moon that we're going to experience. So 21 degrees of Capricorn, please locate that on your chart. If you don't have a chart, please pick somewhere to get a chart. Because I want to say this, I get really specific about the degrees because I want you to see where the lesson is in your work, not for the general, but in your work. How does this translate? So 21 degrees of Capricorn. Now, the full moon, first of all, is calling our attention to end something, acknowledge something, or make an adjustment. Okay, so whatever that looks like, we need to course correct in some way, but we're doing it under all of the light in the sky, as opposed to the new moon where we plant in the dark, the soil of magic. That you got all the lights. You walked into the room, the lights are on, that couch doesn't belong there, right? It's very emotionally obvious, but it's also the way I think it becomes obvious is it's emotionally sensitive, right? So if you have an emotional sensitivity or something is poking you in your structures, in things around authority, your ambition, your public image, your legacy, how am I contributing, long-term goals, anything having to do with that, this is really a moon that is trying, I think, to correct us so that we get on the right path with what we're supposed to be doing. But this is where we have a little bit of a change of the direction, because like I said, first of all, the ruling planet of this moon is in retrograde. So instead of looking at what am I going to add to the future and moving way out here, I think it actually brings us back to what's on our table that we've already been handed. What responsibility, what authority, what power have you already been handed? And now you're needing to go back over that and let die off what's not actually allowing you to live and to grow in that. Because this moon is also in conjunction with Pluto, who is also retrograde at this particular time, right? So the intensity around our emotional revelations, around these power and responsibility dynamics, first of all, I want to say they can be overwhelming. It is Pluto, right? And I would love everybody to just pause for a second and close your eyes and look at your life and think, what am I responsible for? And am I handling it? Right? We've got a question right there. And if you can go check, 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 and you're living your best life, then I love that for you. But most of us at this time with these healing selves, we've got some things to finish handling, even if it's just answering those emails, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, but the other thing is to keep in mind the real power is in the acknowledgement, because the acknowledgement brings the truth of what I'm doing with my power and my authority, and to move myself along the path. And from the truth, which is where we're free, we can make appropriate decisions for long-term success or to adjust, and I think that that's really such a big use of this particular energy, which is, it's just
okay. Stormie, question for you. So would you say in scanning our lives, there's both what are we obviously responsible for, and are we showing up for those responsibilities? That's one. Would you also say it's an opportunity to look at things that we're not actively taking responsibility for right now, but we need to? So maybe we're kind of sloughing off the responsibility to someone else for something that's really important to us, or we're blaming something outside of ourselves for something that we actually could have a lot more authority for, but we're not taking it. Would you say that both of those angles are happening right now?
I absolutely believe that. And I do think that Chiron plays a very big role in this, because we just have different identities. So I think that some portion of our identity, our psyche, our drive needed what we had before. And now we're a little bit more awake, and it's like, oh, well, is that really so-and-so's responsibility? Right? So absolutely, I agree with that. And the key here, I think, is the acknowledgement to the powerful emotional response that maybe presents itself, but not necessarily having to go out and have this big, profound emotional reaction or making impulsive decisions based just on what we feel, right? Like that's not going to be particularly useful. And we also have some helpers in the sky up here. Thank goodness for that. Right. So first of all, we're going to see that this moon also makes connection with Mercury, and there's a conversation with Uranus going on right here as well. So let's talk about this Mercury situation first, because it does tackle the mind, right? We've got the thinking going on. We've got the inner conflict that just naturally comes with having a full moon in the first place. But I think it's also that place that you're talking about of awakening and awareness. And some of that awakening awareness is like, what's happening at home? What's going on at my house that I get to be responsible for? So in this way, it taps us a little bit more into the emotional intelligence with a little bit more willingness than I think before, because before, humans are made with beautiful, magnifying, rationalizing minds. Right? I can rationalize that it should be taken care of, and I don't need to be negotiating about it. I think this, so this is what it is. But you can't do that with Mercury in this position. It's like, hold on, come here. Is that true? Right? Yeah.
Now, will Mercury also help us have the tough conversations that might need to be a part of taking responsibility and ownership for the areas of your life?
I think that Mercury... I think that Mercury wants to be helpful at this particular moon, but I think we actually need just a little bit after the moon, where we see Mercury in this nice sextile with Uranus and Taurus, but the event has already kind of happened. Then I think we get these epiphanies, or this place where we can have a different kind of conversation. So I think that Mercury wants to be useful in that way. More than anything, looking at this, I would think our real helpers are going to be between Venus and Neptune and the conversation that they're having, because it's like, okay, we're changing, we're advancing, we're being responsible. But guess what? It's not terrible. It actually feels good at the big kid table. It's more of that kind of feeling that I think is quite welcoming in. And it's also a space where we may welcome the suggestions, opinion, advice, mentorship, guidance of other people. as well. No.
Yes. Okay, great. Okay, a couple follow-up questions because I know this is like the big transit of the week. So I want to just dive in a little bit more. You said 21 degrees of Capricorn. You said look at where that's at in your chart. What orb would you use in terms of planets that may be close to that degree? And then what other 21 degree placements might also be affected?
So I'm an orb snob. I know that some people are not, but I'm an orb snob. So it is the moon. I'm going to give it, I usually only give 3 degrees, but I'll give it a whole whopping 5. Some people may be more comfortable with 7. And because it's a lunar energy, you may feel the impact up to 10 degrees. You really have to play with this, but I am an orb snob. I want it in nice and tight. So I would look for, 21 degrees, 22, 23, 20, 19, 18, right about in there of Capricorn, and of course of Cancer as well, because the sun is down in the energy of Cancer. Now, if you have anything else in your chart at those degrees, particularly 21, you want to see what the aspect is that's being made, because it is triggering a vibration to 21 degrees of something in your chart. And if you've got an active planet or an angle, or if you work with asteroids, fixed stars, any of that, you want to know where they are at. So I would say to look at that quite specifically. But that said, cardinal signs are really a good place to pay attention. So
for people that don't know the cardinal signs, what are they?
Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn.
Okay. And when you, and earlier you said that where we have 21 degrees of Capricorn, that's going to help us see which area of life is being affected by this whole power and responsibility dynamic thing, correct? Okay.
Yes. So you want to look for that into the actual house that it's happening. So if you have 21 degrees of Capricorn in your first house, you want to look at first house identity department things. If it's in your 7th house, relationships for sure. And chance encounters with that trine to Uranus could present itself in your 7th house. So you want to look at the house to see the department of life that may be triggering.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That was such great coverage of the full moon in Capricorn. Thank you. All right, so let's go to Thursday.
Okay, so on Thursday now, this is where we're going to start to get a little bit more watery. And I will just tell you, spoiler, Sunday is super watery. So you can come down from all the responsibility stuff as we get there. But as we're moving and we see Neptune and Venus come into a square, into a square with one another. Okay. Now, nice conversation around the moon. That's great. That might actually be helpful, help us take on a little bit more responsibility here. But the rationalizing mind is where I would really like you to pay attention, because on the other side of this beautiful full moon energy, responsibility, I want you to be mindful. Do you have something that's giving you, again, a false sense of security? Right? Go back into that. What are the illusions or delusions that maybe you have around an ideal, or around what other people are doing, or something like that? There can be a delusion that we've got going there, because we have to consider that this is a square. So we do light up some of the shadow side of the planets. And if that's not how it's manifesting for you, instead, if the square is putting you under enough pressure to just take action and ask some questions, right? What's going on? What does this mean? Get in there. Let Venus ask all the Gemini questions that need to be had, because that's really where the truth is going to be at. Now, we're going to see this again December 4th. Okay. Go slow. Take your time in there. Get the information that you need. Look at if there are false securities available for you there, or if you've also had your affections misplaced in some way, shape, or form. So I think that's a great use of that Venus square to Neptune.
Okay, great. So that's Thursday.
Yes, and we're also, as we get to the end of the day, we're going to see the moon move on and get into the energy of Aquarius. So I always think that the moon Aquarius is nice for being nosy, because it's an air energy. Right? So we do become a little bit more emotionally curious anyways. So you've kind of got that. But the other thing about the moon moving into the energy of Aquarius is if you need a social media break, take it. right? If you need a stimulation of other people break, feel free to take it. Aquarius is aligned with freedom and independent freedom. So do what you need to do for you to be healthy at this time. Power and responsibility. What do you need on this day? And being very conscientious of it is something you can use this next 2.5 days of the moon traveling through Aquarius to your absolute benefit, right? I don't know if you're there yet. Have you felt that? I mean, we work in the online sphere. Have
I ever felt like I need to take a break from social media? Oh, yeah. Yes. I mean, we actually last summer, we literally took a several month break from Instagram, and we're just like, we're just pressing pause because yes, it can be, you can become like a prisoner of it. Like it's constant, never ending, both as a consumer of it and a creator of it. So yes, we have taken breaks and it's very healthy. And then coming back, it's like, okay, we can come back different. We can have fun with it again. But yeah, there's just get to that culminating point where it's like, okay, enough, pause, take a break, come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you? I mean, do you feel like that?
Oh yeah, I absolutely work with the marketing and promotional strategy of scarcity. Like, I'm not interested in being everywhere all the time. Like, I need to be having my snacks and resting and being as vibrant and honest to who I am. So sometimes I just have to be gone,
Yes. Oh yeah.
And that leaves space for, when we're dealing with Aquarius energy, for a nice new emotional surprise. I'm like, oh, I feel refreshed, which I think is interesting too, right? That we've got this birthday party that we'll be coming back to on that same day, where it's like, take a break for a day, put on your outfit and come back to the birthday party, because how fun is that, right? How futuristic and just joyful is that? And what are we talking about except for astrology, which is the Aquarius energy in and of itself? So if astrology is a part of your heart, come back.
Oh my gosh, completely. Yes. And that is the whole energy behind it. It's like, let's just have a celebration. Like, there's no point really besides just coming together because we really like each other and we want to reminisce and we want to just give thanks and have fun. Like, that's it. That's the whole agenda. So yes, it sounds like a great day to do it then.
Yes, it definitely will be. But I do want to also speak truly to our friends that maybe deal with nervous system issues or issues of anxiety. Okay, relax. It is, do what you need to do for you to make sure that those things, those electrical systems, are not overstimulated. Okay, so I think it's really good to pay attention to that as well.
Okay, how about Friday and into the weekend?
Yes. So Friday, as we're going into the weekend. So first and foremost, the moon is actually going to come into this conjunction with Saturn in Aquarius. And that is nice because that is really very grounding. So, in some of the stuff I was just talking about, like, take a break if you need to. Any upsets that maybe have presented, Saturn and the moon coming together is like, it restores that sense of kind of, I think, emotional grounding and control. So that's a nice way to be moving, I think, into the weekend, where we move Saturday into the moon in the energy of Pisces. So now we're going to start to experience a little bit of a different vibration, and it becomes more creative, right? More moving in between the worlds. Whenever the moon gets into Pisces, I tell people this is a great time for a conversation with the ancestors. This is a great time for, watch that really fun movie that kind of transfers you back a little bit. So it's a great energy to do that, to process and assimilate. Pisces is our energy of transition, culmination, and assimilation. Any emotional responses that have happened during the week. Now, the other thing that I think is the side of Pisces that I want to keep our focus here too, is that Pisces is very empathetic. So you may be more prone to caring for others. You could have a call to that. So if that's something that's coming up on your table, again, be as discerning as is possible and make sure that you're also taking care of yourself. Okay. Now we're also going to see the sun come into a conjunction with Mercury, so Cazimi, on Saturday, which isn't that nice because it creates this free flow of like innovative, oh my God, this is the thing kind of ideas, right? It's like the bright spot, like you get a bright idea that becomes available at that time. So yay for that level of power and energy becoming available to us. I don't know about you, but whenever we have these Cazimi moments, Amanda, I will literally be doing anything and can almost feel when it happens, because I'm like, you know what, that's a good idea. I don't even think I was thinking about anything, but it turns out that's a really great idea, or that was such a cool memory. It's so fascinating to me what that pulls in as we have those experiences.
I love that. I have never noticed that, but I don't think I've thought to notice it. So I will definitely be paying attention on Saturday. And so will all of our friends who are listening. What is that great idea? And can we trust that idea? You know how sometimes you have ideas that seem really good in the moment, and then like either implementing it, you're like, oh God, that wasn't a good idea. Or it just kind of fizzles. You know, are these the kind of ideas that will come in and they're sticking, they're solid, or are they passing little fantasy ideas?
No, I think that these are ideas that we can trust in. Here in the energy of Cancer, I think it gives us an opportunity to refine our image, right? Like we've seen a lot, we've healed a lot. We talked about the dynamics of power and responsibility. When Mercury and the moon get together, like our motivation and our mental capacity become quite agile. So it's like, okay, I can redefine or refine my image in this area. And this is an image of I'm taking some responsibility, or I'm ready to launch something in a direction, or, you know, things like that. I think you can definitely trust it. And it may be quite helpful with the moon traveling through Pisces that we get a little bit more creative with how we do that.
Okay. Well, you already foreshadowed Sunday. You said it's going to be really watery. Tell us about it.
Okay, it is all the water. So first of all, we've got the Sun and Neptune. They're going to be dancing together. Right behind that, because we've got the Sun and Mercury Cazimi. So it also means that in its own aspect, Mercury is also going to channel this Neptunian energy. And then Venus is going to move into the energy of Cancer. So just shut down your life. On Sunday, I'm super earthy. So when we get into the water terrain, I'm like, I can't play. So okay, so Sunday. So let's look at this Sun first. The Sun trine Neptune. This is incredibly creative energy. It's just incredibly creative energy. And I think it's also a time that, you know, do you need to go back to something that you were working on before? What did that bright idea trigger for you where you're like, I do want to finish that painting, or I do what, right? It can just be, where am I willing to grab my responsibility, and where am I motivated because it feels good? Like create for the sake of creating because it feels good. It connects you to your spirit. It's a very watery kind of energy, but watery does not mean bad. We are built of a depth and width of emotion, and they are all really useful to the human experience. So it is watery, but don't be afraid to get in there. But if you do sometimes get drowned in the water stuff, be mindful to find an outlet for some maybe creative expression on that day, especially with the Sun there. Okay. And I will say this for all of us: reach for solutions, not problems. Okay. So then we're going to have Mercury have its own experience over here with Neptune. And this can get a little cloudy if you're trying to just have an full-on intellectual experience. This is more tapping into the emotional intelligence and the intuitive intelligence of what is available for the day. So really just trying to cram an idea is not necessarily the strongest use of this particular aspect. But Mercury in this alignment with Neptune as well, opportunities can present themselves and become available to you. And I would wait until Monday to say yes or no to these things. This can be, it's a wonderful opportunity, but is it an opportunity that you fully want to invest in? Do you fully understand the implications of what you're going to be taking on? You know, oh yes, I have a great opportunity for you. That's the way it all starts. The next thing you know, you're in debt up to your eyeballs. So, you know, like just, I would say, if you can wait, that would be great. But let's get to this Venus in Cancer, because Venus is very happy in the energy of Cancer. So again, we are attracting in now. So how do you feel? How are you? This is Cancerian energy in your home, in your emotional body, in your emotional space. How are you? right? Venus wants to bring a salve to the emotions. Venus is happy to nestle in here and have you come in and make sure that your shell is perfectly taken care of. Other themes we may see why Venus is traveling through Cancer is truly you want to redecorate your house, your space. You're like, you know what, this just needs a throw pillow. I want to cook, I want to eat, I want to bake cookies and paint my pictures. Whatever that stimulation of the love of home, affection at home, depth of home, self-care, all of these become themes that as Venus shifts in here, we have the opportunity to explore. Okay.
And how long will Venus be in Cancer?
We're going to see, I think Venus makes this move August 11th into the energy of Leo. Yep. Okay. So we've got just a little bit of time to explore that dynamic, and Venus will make an abundance of different connections as it travels through this Cancerian space, but enjoy it. Venus is very, very happy and comfortable in the energy of Cancer. So anything at home, if you do need to have that hard conversation, if you do need to invest in your home, get your budget right? Get relationships right in your house. Venus in Cancer is a wonderful energy to help us do that, but you're responsible for doing it.
Yes. Okay. Are you ready for the summary, or is there anything else we need to know about the week?
Oh, so much. I'm a Virgo rising. There's so much we need to know about the week, but I feel like this is good.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay. So we're talking about a theme of power and responsibility. We have two major aspects of the week, which is the full moon in Capricorn and then Mercury Chiron square. And they're related around this theme of power and responsibility. We touched on the Pluto return for United States, and that's happening today, Monday, the 11th. The idea behind that is to watch and wait. Just lots of things still playing out. We're going to be in this Pluto return until 2023. So just, we're in a marathon, essentially. It's like, don't sprint and exhaust yourself out. Like you need to just wait and watch as things continue to play out. Let's see. So you have on Monday also to watch demands instead of requests. So instead of demanding for something, requesting something. Actually, my Taurus man, I know you're a Taurus, you'll appreciate this. He was coaching me today on please. And the difference between saying, please, can you go get that for me? Or can you go get that for me, please? Because for him, there's a huge distinction between these two. Because if I say, please, can you go get that for me? I'm already starting the sentence with like a very sweet, gentle frequency. And if I say, can you go get that thing for me, please, it does not have the same sort of energy for him.
Absolutely. Like one is like, oh yeah, I thought of you second.
I thought of you second, exactly.
But so I want something from you first.
I want something, but I'm remembering to be polite at the end. So essentially, we need to watch demands instead of requests. So say your pleases, and there's a have fun, like heck yeah kind of energy to this day. So have fun. People may be requesting for you to have fun, or you may be wanting other people to have fun. But again, requesting, not demanding. Tuesday is a good day to prepare to mature. That there's going to be something happening on this day that will have additional threads in December. So pay attention. This is going to be the beginning of something that you're going to be working through for a while, and it will come back around. So paying attention to that. And there is one of the things you said is to be easier on ourselves. Wednesday is an attracting in energy. So commitments, signing the deal, you're going to feel more safe and secure. It's going to be easier for you to do some of these things that can sometimes feel heavy. Use your power and responsibility in ways that, and then I didn't write what you said. So use power and responsibility in ways that are pleasurable.
Are pleasurable. Yes.
Okay.
Let's say it like that. Perfect.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. All right. Then on Wednesday, we have the full moon in Capricorn at 21 degrees. Look for any of your placements within about a 3-degree orb that are around 21 degrees of Capricorn, 21 degrees of cardinal signs, and 21 degrees in general. That this is a course correction, structure, authority, ambition, public image, long-term goals. We're going to correct these kinds of things so that we can get on the right path. Look at what's on your table now, go back over it, let things die off that aren't allowing growth. So let those things go. It can be overwhelming. But I love this question that you had us ask. What am I responsible for? And am I handling it? And that there's a real power in the acknowledgement. So even just asking the question, acknowledging yes, you are, or acknowledging no, you're not, there's power just in that alone. You said that there's some helpers for this full moon energy: Mercury, Venus, Neptune. Mercury's going to have our mind very active. Venus and Neptune, what are we saying? Feels good at the big kid table. I love that. It's so cute, Stormie. And one of the Stormie isms. Yes, it feels good at the big kid table. So you're taking responsibility, you're stepping up, and it's kind of like, oh God, I was afraid of this, or I didn't want to take this on, but it actually feels good to be quote unquote maturing or adulting.
Yeah. And Uranus, let's not forget that Uranus does help that, because it's kind of a surprising revelation where you're like, it's not that scary over here.
There we go. Perfect. Okay. Thursday is watery. Venus and Neptune are square. So watch out for your rationalizing mind, illusions and delusions around your ideals. And the way to do that is to get in and ask questions, because you said that in the questions, we're going to find truth. So don't be afraid to go in and ask those questions that might be hard to even voice. It's worth it. Do that here. The moon is in Aquarius. Take a break from social media. Watch like your nervous system frying out. Just be careful of that. Friday, emotional grounding and control, which is great. Saturday, we have moon in Pisces, creative, conversations with ancestors. There's this like sense of nostalgia almost, and like integrating past threads, assimilating, more prone to caring for others, which is nice. Innovative ideas because of Sun Cazimi with Mercury. Refine your image, taking responsibility again. Sunday, you may just want to shut down and be creative, create for the sake of creating. Make sure you give an outlet for your creative expression and reach for solutions, not problems. And this is also when Venus is going to Cancer, which we're going to be working with for a while, but this is beautifying your home, feeling good in your body, feeling good in your home, a solve to your emotions. Maybe you want to redecorate your space, affection at home, and self-care. Fabulous. Yeah?
It's a good week.
It's a good week. It's amazing. Okay. Well, Stormie, thank you so much. If you like Stormie's teaching, there are several things that we have done with Stormie that I just wanted to draw your attention to. Stormie was one of 5 astrologers who taught our very popular Your Soul Purpose course, which went through a lot of different placements in your chart and taught you how those placements reveal things about your soul purpose. So if you're interested in soul purpose, in your life path, and using astrology to help you discover that, highly recommend you check that course out. It is in our academy. Also, Stormie taught a mastery class when she was an inner circle astrologer on the hemispheres. So the class was really designed to teach you how to, at a glance, look at a chart and glean information based on where the planets are in terms of the hemispheres. So are they all up in the right corner? Are they all down below the horizon? Are they all up above the horizon? And what those different placements actually mean. So those are both available in our academy at astrologyhub.com/academy. Check them out and make sure that you sign up for the birthday party. Stormie's going to be there with those 8 other astrologers. It's going to be a party. I think that's it. It's going to be a party. That's astrologyhub.com/birthday party. That's completely free. We would love to have you there. Stormie, thank you so much. I can't wait to see you in just a few days.
Yes. Thank you too. I love coming back. Like, I love being here. So it's going to be awesome.
Awesome. Okay. And thanks to all of you for being here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of our community. And as always, thank you for making astrology a part of your life. We'll catch you on the next episode. Are you looking for personalized guidance? Do you have questions about what you're meant to do and be in this lifetime? What you need in intimate relationships to really thrive? Or what major themes you'll be working with in the months to come? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you'll want to check out our personalized character and destiny and year ahead reports. These reports are perfect for you if you want professional insight into your astrology chart or year ahead. Written by internationally renowned astrologer Adrian Ross Duncan. Your character and destiny report provides deep insight into who you are and what you came here to do, your biggest strengths and challenges, and how your astrological design impacts your career and relationships. The Essential Year Ahead report gives you insights into the major themes you'll be exploring in your career, your love life, personal development, and much more. For only $37, you can get your personalized astrology report delivered straight to your inbox within minutes. Just go to astrologyhub.com/reports to get yours today. That's astrologyhub.com/reports.